myself. Most of you already know me. I'm Anna Marie. I'm the community associate. I'm kind of your go-to girl around the office if you ever need help with anything. I kind of keep this place running for Stacy. I guess first off, I want to start with Annie. Did an awesome job. Hi, she's in the very back. Last week, yes, at her programming, she had an awesome fireside chat called Power Up Coffee with Stacy. And if you missed that, that's okay. We recorded it. It's on YouTube and on Rise Digital, so you can go back and watch it. It's really awesome. And then speaking of Rise Digital, after Annie's programming, she came up to Stacy and was like, you know, it'd be really cool if you had this app that you could like connect with people and see who was coming to the event, and then you know see who's RSVP'd. And Stacey was like, we have that, it's Rise Digital. So, but that made us realize that maybe not everybody is understanding all the functionalities and all the cool things that you can do with Rise Digital. So I want to make sure everybody is on Rise Digital. So you download the app and get everything uploaded. And get a bio in there. People can see who's coming to these events, making sure you're RSVPing, who's coming to the events, and then at the end, instead of like exchanging business cards or anything like that, you can just message them directly on there once you write in contact. But if you have any issues with that, I'll be coming around at the very end and helping you get set up on that to make sure you know that you're in the know. Yes.
It's through Mighty Networks, right?
Yes. Yep. So the app is called Mighty Networks, but Rise Digital is through that, and I will help anybody that's not on there yet. I can help you at the very end. So for our programming, we have two main goals. One is to make a new connection or strengthen a connection that you already have. And two is to take away something that you can put into practice in your business or something in your personal life. So we're going to get started on that first part, which is making connections. We're just going to do quick introductions. It's my pleasure. And we're so excited to have Arezou here. So we can give her a round of applause.
Thank you, thank you. You know, I counted 19 people in this room, and these are the best 19 elevator speeches I've ever heard. Really, I'm so, impressed. Everybody was so succinct. There's not a question on my mind about what does she do again? So nice job, everybody. My name is Arezou. I have been a founding member of Rise. I became a member here before it was open. And I love it here. I love the community, but more so, I really, really love Stacy. I was telling Barbara, Stacy just is extremely kind. And there's a personal story at some point, I'll share that, but I just am very, very fortunate to be a part of this community. I'm going to tell you about my story a little bit, and then we're going to dig into how I launched my digital company in the middle of the pandemic. A digital company that sends people into other people's homes. So first and foremost, I am an immigrant. I was born and raised in the Middle East, in Iran. And, honestly, it was the best part of my life. You all might find it strange, but it really was a wonderful time, even though there was a revolution, even though there was war, even though we had to cover up, I could be executed for going out like this, but still, it was the best time in my life. I think that had something to do with me being a teenager. But I moved to the US to go to college, and before I graduated from college, I got hired by Hewlett-Packard. So that was a big thing, right? I mean, this Fortune 500, at that time, Hewlett-Packard was the Google of now, the Facebook of now. So that was a big thing. And I stayed with HP for gosh, 17, 18 years, traveled the world, got recruited from HP to another big company, big jobs, big fancy titles, big everything, right? On paper, everything is great. Anyways, I found my way into Colorado with my husband. Got hired by, again, more enterprises, more big stuff. And I never really thought about ageism, honestly. And when I heard, this is when I was in my 30s and I'm like rocking it. When I heard about, ageism being an issue, I thought, oh, well, these women don't know how to play the game. These women don't know how to shine. These women don't know talking about, and it's really interesting. You just don't, karma is a bitch, right? Seriously. So at age 40, I became a mom, right? And I was the best mom before I actually had my own child, because all I did was I judged other moms, right? So when moms would tell me that, or when I would hear that, you know, work-life balance, the juggle is real, et cetera, I'm like, oh, these people don't know what they're talking about. They just need to play the game better. Then I became a mom, right? All right, still living a high life, kind of trying to make it work. And at 44, I got ejected out of corporate. So still riding high, right? Still like, well, of course I'll get another job. They would be lucky to have me come to them. Well, nobody kind of invited me back into a job. So I joined a startup because they invited me to go and join a startup as a founder, as a co-founder. So that sounded good, fancy title, right? No pay, fancy title. And the startup was with 2 other women. And we, the mission of the startup was to eliminate the intimidation factor for women, for the mainstream women, from outdoor and adventure. And it was really a fun job until things went sideways between me and the other 2 founders, who were also women. So this was kind of a big, interesting aha moment for me. We were there to be empowering to women, and yet we were so disempowering to one another. So I left that startup, and a year and a half after I left it, it failed, unfortunately. That was really hard for me because first, you know, the whole founder dynamic, it felt like it was a big egg on my face, on other women's face. Also, I had raised capital for the startup. I had raised close to $1 million for this company, and it died, right? So my relationship with these investors went to shit, right? And so that was really hard, but it was a big learning lesson. So coming out of that, okay, let's go back into corporate. Let's go back and try to get a job, a grown-up job, and make money again. All right, nobody is having me back, nobody, right? I am getting the interviews. I'm being told, we're going to present you an offer next week. The offer never comes. This isn't the case of 1, 2, 5 jobs. This is a case of easily 12 or 13, right? Yes, the offer never comes. What are the reasons? Let me share with you. One was, we just don't believe your story. Even though last week you believed it because you told me we're going to put an offer in place. Next week, we just don't believe your story. Second, you have big company experience. We're looking for someone with smaller company experience. Well, okay, you have known this throughout all of these interviews. You've known me for 6 months. Okay. Third, you're too good for us. We need another 12 to 18 months to grow the company to the point that it's ready for you. Right. Okay. And then just go from there. But these were the 3 big themes. So, all right. So I'm hustling, I'm consulting, I'm investing, I'm coaching founders. I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I need a job. You know, I need to go do something, right? So one of the things that I do, and I did at that time, is I coach founders. And I love that. I draw a lot of inspiration and strength from that. So I had signed up for a women startup weekend to be a coach to these women that were there for a weekend, and they were going to found a company. Okay, so that weekend was February of 2019, and I was just a mess. I was a mess. Why was I a mess? Well, I have a, you know, at that time, I don't know, he was a 7-year-old boy I had a puppy. My husband is battles with mental health issues. And, you know, I looked like crap. I looked awful. And that was a very particular, difficult weekend for my husband, to the extent that I did not feel safe leaving my child alone with my husband. Not that he would ever hurt him, but I didn't feel like there was care, that I felt safe, you know, for my child. So I thought and thought and thought, and I said, okay, let's all go to Children's Museum, and I will take an Uber from Children's Museum to the startup event, Commons of Champa.
Yeah.
And then I will take an Uber back, come to Children's Museum, and we're all gonna go home. Because I felt like, okay, Children's Museum, a big, busy space. My son is gonna be busy. My husband is gonna be with people. It's gonna be fine. So we did that. We went to Children's Museum, and I got to the startup event, and I was late, naturally. And meanwhile, I mean, like I said, I look like shit. I mean, my roots were like this. I mean, Barbara doesn't like the fact, but like 2 inches long, you know, gray hair, and just looking horrific. And the whole time my mind is racing, thinking, okay, did I take my dog out to pee today? What do we do for dinner? Do we have enough clean clothes for tomorrow? I mean, all of this stuff is in my head when I'm supposed to be there mentoring these women. So I get there late, and I say, okay, I'm not paired with anybody because I'm late, so what do? And they say, well, just go find a group. So I naturally walk to this group, and they're all talking about the problem that working moms face. And their company was called It Takes a Village. And so I felt like this was therapy, right? And so I just immediately started mentoring them and saying, you need to do this, this is great. So we worked through their concept, the company concept, through the weekend. And they pitched, they didn't win the pitch. And then after the event, I kept telling them, you guys need to do this. If you do this, I will help you. I will invest myself. I will bring in investors. You need to do this. Moms need this. And the founders of the company were wishy-washy, but ultimately they said, no, we just don't want to do it right now. And that was February of 2019. So, okay, that's fine. I was ready to write a big check myself for them. So anyways, we walked away, we part ways, and the idea wouldn't leave me alone. It just would not leave me alone. And so finally in August of 2019, I decided, okay, well, I'll do this then. So, and there was a little bit of a hurt feelings with those two founders. I think we reconciled, because the company that I ultimately founded was very different than what they were originally thinking about. But it was kind of still a side hustle, right? I wasn't all in. I hired a developer, I hired some branding people. We developed a concept, we called it Dispatch Mom at the time. Until March of 2020, where my client work went to zero, right? COVID. And I wasn't gonna go back and try to, you know, look for jobs anymore, right? It hadn't yielded any results for a couple of years. So I decided I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go in, all in, and let's figure this out. And this is despite the fact that my lead developer quit. Why did he quit? Not anything bad or anything. He had, his wife was expecting a child and he needed something more secure. And I know very little about app development. Yes, I have a technology background. I'm an engineer, but the engineering that I practiced 20 years ago is very different than what it is right now. So anyways, March of 2020, all of this stuff happened. Sam came to my aid, a few other people came to my aid. And in September of 2020, we launched the company, Dispatch Mom. I was revenue positive on day one. However, not a lot of revenue. So in September of last year, 2020, we made $250. So not bad, okay. We got $250 of revenue. We rebranded. The company evolved from Dispatch Mom to Call Emmy. The reason behind that is twofold. One is we wanted to be more inclusive because not everybody's a mom, right? And then secondly, about the mom, somebody pointed this out to me that I hadn't thought about, that the very problem that I was trying to solve, which is it's not just the mom's job to do everything. I was actually pigeonholing moms into that role by calling this dispatch mom, saying, yeah, just you need something, you need laundry, dispatch mom. Well, that doesn't really work. So we changed it to Call Emmy. Emmy is a real person, actually. There's a story about her on Call Emmy website. So where are we today? Today, 9 months later, we are about to break into $10,000 of revenue. Last couple of months, we have been in the high, not high 4 digits. Probably this month we're going to exceed. We have about 600 downloads. We have 8 underrepresented business owners that are benefiting from working with Call Emmy. We have over 55 customers. We have 5-star reviews. We only have 1 4-star review. So we're doing fine. So are we close? Not at all. We are far from where I envision us to be, but we're on the right path. So what got us here? This is where I want to first say that the first spot is that this is my true calling. And I really, really feel that, right? I heard a phrase the other day, which I really resonated with. I am not a religious person. I'm quite spiritual, but not religious. But this phrase actually said, the problems of today are the answers to the prayers of yesterday. And I thought, my goodness, this is such a great way of looking at it. The problems of today are the answers to our prayers yesterday. You look confused.
No, I'm like, that's deep.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a Christian person, yeah, that's really.
And so I really feel blessed, to be here and to really feel like I am doing what my true calling is, which is to not subscribe to the notion that working women have to make a choice between being a successful, ambitious career woman or being a successful and engaged mom. You can be both. You can, and there's no reason for that to be any different. It's very interesting. You see, I don't know, Indira Nooyi, who was the CEO of Pepsi, right? Oftentimes she was asked, how do you do this all? How do you do this all? Now, of course, she had a lot of resources, but I don't know. Does Mark Zuckerberg hear that question? How do you do it? No. And there is this implicit expectation on working moms that you have to choose. No, you don't. You shouldn't have to. So I'm here to solve that problem. And I feel like it's my true calling. Not only that, I've always been an advocate for the underrepresented. And I am very glad to say that today we are helping several underrepresented small business owners. How am I doing on time? How many more?
15 minutes.
Okay. So this is where I'm going to shift and talk about the takeaways. Stacy asked me to give you 3 takeaways. that you can put in practice. I'm gonna give you 6. Buy one, yeah. Buy one, get one free. No, it's more of, I don't think I can boil it down to 3. So there's 6. But being a left brain person, I have bucketized it for you. So you can put them into, categories. So first I'm going to start with business tips. Number 1, spend money on only 2 things. 2. 1, what frees you up. 2, what moves the needle for your business. Okay, let me give you some examples. If you are not an accountant, don't do accounting. If you are not a lawyer, don't do legal stuff. Don't be your own lawyer. Free yourself up because your business needs you to be the CEO. Your business needs you not to be the accountant, right? Number 2, spend money on what moves the needle. Now you might say, I don't know what moves my needle, the needle for my business. I need to spend money to figure that out. That's fine. That's fine. But don't just haphazardly spend money on things that don't move the needle for your business. Number 2, be creative in using resources. Experiment with tools and with people. So I got Sam. Sam is a brilliant brand strategist. I got her for a bargain. Now, you all are not going to get her as a bargain, but it was all through a platform that for a period of time allowed us to use talent for a fraction of what it would cost. What's that? She's really good. So experiment. So I've used, for example, this is another example. So my business, Call Emmy, we are a digital marketplace that connects parents to household chore providers. So you need a cleaner, you get a cleaner come to your house. You need laundry done, you get laundry person come to your house. You need meals, et cetera, et cetera. And so customer service is hugely important for us, right? Customer service platforms are there, but they're expensive. Guess what we use for customer service? We use Google Voice. Google Voice has chat functionality and text functionality and call, right? I'm spending $10 a month for Google Voice as my customer service platform, and it works great. So be resourceful. Number 3, and this is important, simplify your business into its fundamental building blocks. What do I mean by that? Generally, every business has 3 fundamental business blocks. 1 is what brings customers in. 2nd, what keeps those customers. 3rd, what turns those customers into loyalists, right? For us, I have mastered number 1 and number 2. I know what brings customers in and I know what keeps them in. Number 3, what turns them into loyalists, we're still trying to figure that out. But build it to those fundamental business blocks, because when you simplify it, then you can manage it and grow it. These are on the business ones. Now, let's talk about the mental tips that I have. Number 1, anxiety, right? Let's see, show of hands. Who has not had an anxious moment, anxious day, sleepless night as an entrepreneur, founder, or someone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur, founder? Anyone, right? So it's quite natural, right? However, when anxiety hits, and I'm not talking about chronic anxiety. If you have chronic anxiety, that's a different problem. But if you have like this tightness in your chest, there's several nights of sleepless nights, have an anxiety strategy session by yourself. So what do I mean by that? Sit down, have a pad of paper, and try to understand what's behind that, what's under that anxiety. Generally, there are 2 things that create anxiety for us. Number 1 is fear. Number 2 is your inner voice, your intuition, right? Be very, very careful about not mixing the 2, okay? So if it is fear, again, there are ways of unpacking the fear to understand how you can transform it from fear into action. If it is your inner voice, pause, reflect, hear it, because it is telling you something. It is telling you something. Second tip, have a business coach / mentor / critique. Have someone that will tell you what you don't want to hear. Yeah, this is so important. I have one. Actually, I have two. One is Cami, but Cami often is very, very supportive and loving, which I love. And I have another gal who kicks my ass. I mean, yeah. And I'm Nels. This is so important to have someone that really helps you get grounded and face the reality. And my third tip is this: think big. Think big. Thinking big is free. It is free. If you have a business that is generating $10,000 a year, there is a way for that business to generate $100,000, $500,000. If it's generating $1 million, there is a way to grow it. Why do I say that? When you think big, you play big. And more than anything, the world needs women to play big. In other words, more than anything, the world needs women to stop playing small. We need to think big and play big. And I am happy to take your questions. Yes.
Can you go back to simplify business into fundamental building blocks? You talked a little fast through that. I got the last one, but what were the first two?
What brings customers in?
Yeah.
What keeps them? And then what turns them into loyalists? Meaning they'll never leave. And they're bring other people in.
How are you competing against, okay, so you have companies that are in that same space that you're in. What is your differentiation zone? If Carla was here, she'd love me saying that. And what advice do you give for us? There's probably business coaches, there's lifestyle coaches in this room, there's people like, that have various businesses. How do we play big but also be different against against competitors?
Well, that's a question that every founder has to pause and think about themselves. For us, it's our main differentiation is this: we get moms, we get them.
Yeah.
That's why they trust us. They trust us. I have a client in Niwot who is out of town, and we send people to her home to water her flowers. We know her garage code. We know her alarm code. They trust us like this. And so that's our big differentiation, is we are more than a transaction, we're a brand. But I can't answer that for you.
Yeah. She kicks our ass too. She's our advisor.
Yes, go ahead.
So I have a question for you. As a nonprofit founder, I work with low-income families, and a lot of them are single moms.
Yeah.
So how can I hear this and I know, these are things my mom needs. I have one that I'm thinking of today. She's a single mom of 5 kids.
Ooh.
And I know how blessed I am that I can have someone come to my home twice a month and clean it. How do we, as a community of people, utilize a resource like yours? Because this mom works as hard as I do. I just was blessed with a different path.
Yeah.
And more resources. So how do I, do you offer different price points for income-based families to give them the opportunity to work their way out of poverty? So these families that I work with ongoing, they are working towards creating a better environment for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'm like, gosh, what if I could provide one meal a week or their house cleaned once a month? But for me as a small nonprofit, I don't have this unlimited amount of funds.
Mm-hmm.
So do you?
Yeah, let's talk offline. Not at this point,
Okay.
Not at this point, but it is one of our missions. Again, the reason why we work with underrepresented business owners is exactly that. With many of my I don't have a lot, but with many of my service providers, we call them fairies, by the way. They're tour fairies. If they don't get paid that day, there is no food on the table that night, right? And I make sure that the client pays before the job. If there is no payment, there is no cleaning service, there is no meal service. So that is a mission. We don't have what you suggested just yet, but I'd love to continue the
Yeah, I would
dialogue.
love to
Yeah.
see. And,
Yeah.
you know, even from our standpoint, it may be something that we can.
Yeah, I was
Women
gonna
in
say
the
like
village
a
sponsor.
sponsor.
Yeah.
Sponsor of I was saying the same thing.
I love that.
I think we all pitched in.
I love that idea.
I think we had, Shelley, did you have a question? And then Ashley?
Yeah, shit.
So you know, had a
Yeah.
chance to talk one-on-one once, and you said something about like, are you an enterprise or are you a solopreneur? So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with being a solopreneur. When I say think big, you can think big as a solopreneur and still expand. And there's no but, and there is a limit to that as a solopreneur. Why? Because it's just you, right? I mean, you're a human being, there are only 24 hours a day. I'd love to change those physics, but that's not possible, right? So an enterprise is essentially unlimited potential for growth. And by that, I mean positive change. So you can think big as a solopreneur, and you can get to a level where, I mean, Cami is a great example, actually. Cami is my coach, and Shelley's as well. She has impacted the lives of many hundreds, maybe thousands of women. But there is a limit. And I kind of have a feeling that she's gonna actually grow sooner. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
That was good.
We had Ashley, you had a question?
Oh, so I hear this a lot. People feel like we just can't find good help anymore. So, it's like, I'm like, there's a lot of websites and stuff like that. You're just not seeking that. So I was wondering how, as we as a community, can we share the fact that you are vetting these people, that they are, how can we best support you in that way?
Oh, thank you.
Aw.
Thank you.
That's
I think-
nice.
Thank you for saying that. From an organic referral perspective, the best channel is Nextdoor.
Okay.
I've got a lot of clients from Nextdoor that say so-and-so just said something, or Facebook group, mom's face, or I don't know, people's Facebook groups. That's probably, or you can download my app and download Call Emmy. Everybody should download Call Emmy and use it. And you get $10 off of your first service.
Woohoo.
Yes.
Annie, and then Betsy.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what you two were saying, and maybe for some of us that do have better resources, if we use you and there's a charge for a house cleaning, there can be like a pay it forward. And you
Yeah.
Oh, what a great idea.
donate this
Yeah.
to someone else.
Right.
And then they can put whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you start to have a
I
fund.
love it.
I
And you can
love
have
that
different- And you
idea.
can have different communities that we
It's like
choose.
micro.
Kind of like,
Like Target Circle.
Target Circle, yes.
yeah.
That's
And
the one.
she's on Target Circle. Or like Amazon Smile, has that saying? Yeah. Amazon Smile, like, yeah.
All of that. She's like, I'm so good.
I'm writing this down. Thank you.
We have a question from St. Louis.
Woo.
This screen really quick. Yes. So this question is from Maria in St. Louis. She asks, as you scale and grow, how do you intend to maintain your relationships? And how do you plan to scale and grow yourself?
Okay, so is it a general question or is it about me?
You.
Okay, Maria,
Ria, yeah.
Ria, you hit the nail on its head. Because that's my question too. You know, remember I was telling everybody the third thing is what turns the customers into loyalists. In my case, it's my personal relationship with them. That's why they're loyalists. How am I going to scale that? I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know. I lose sleep over this. This is my anxiety because I know that if I don't have an answer to that, I will not be able to scale my business. So I don't know. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was a great question. So like I said at the beginning, we like to have some takeaways. I think you summed it up really well. I think one of them was for yourself up for your business. Another one was simplify the building blocks. And then the other one is thinking big is free, and we need more women to think big. So those are the 3 big takeaways. I also just wanted to say before kind of we end everything that make sure you get on Rise Digital and to RSVP for our happy hour coming up. We're going to be doing a wine tasting with the Blanchard Family Wines. Also, we have an awesome hairstylist coming in. She's going to show us how to do like a summer hair tutorial, which will be really fun. So make sure you get on Rise Digital. If you have questions, I'll be coming around. But we have about 11 more minutes if you guys want to mingle and kind of exchange information, and I can help you get on the Rise Digital platform. But thank you so much. Let's give it up one more time.